Hello, happy campers! Welcome to Singing Nomad. I'm Carla, and today I'd like to take you to an island. Not a tropical island, no warm sand, hammocks, or palm trees, but an island that's a little bit cold, a little bit dank, and has a lot of history. Where are we going? I'd like to show you Alcatraz. Alcatraz has a lot of history. I'm not going to go into all of that today because I want to keep this video brief. I respect your time. So I'll just give you the highlights that I think you would be interested in and my own experiences. By the late 1850s, military prisoners were housed there. And from 1909 to 1911, military prisoners on Alcatraz built the prison that we now call the Rock. The federal government wanted to build a maximum security, minimum privilege penitentiary for inmates that got in trouble at other federal prisons, escape risks, those that did not follow the rules and regulations. If you got in trouble, you were sent to the Rock. The government wanted to show the public that they were clamping down on rampant crime in the 1920s and 30s. There were several well-known, notorious prisoners housed on the Rock, such as Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly, and Alvin Karp, the very first Public Enemy #1. At Alcatraz, prisoners had 4 rights: food, clothing, shelter, and medical care. Every other privilege had to be earned. Privileges included working, visiting with family, corresponding, access to the prison library, and recreational activities such as painting and music. The island's most famous prisoner was Robert Stroud, the Birdman. He spent 17 years on Alcatraz, and 6 of those years were in segregation in D Block. I visited Alcatraz twice, actually. Once was in 1986 when it was set up very differently. At that time, a park ranger would take a small group on a tour of the building. Part of that tour, though, was you were allowed to go into D Block segregation and go inside a solitary confinement cell. Well, I volunteered because I'm very adventurous. And when we went in, they slammed the doors and it echoed so loudly. It was very intimidating. And then we saw what it was like to be in the darkness. You could not see your hand in front of your face. It was dark. I kept thinking, I'm going to get out of here in a minute, hopefully. But there were human beings inside this cell, and it was dark sometimes, not all the time. But they were in here 24 hours a day. Once per week, they were allowed on the yard for some recreation, but they had to be alone. I felt very sad about this, but a little creeped out because I was ready to get out of there. Each cell was 5 foot by 9 foot, and most men could extend their arms and touch each wall. Many of us have closets bigger than these cells, and you'll see that in the footage in just a moment. We have to talk about the Great Escape. In 1962, a year before they closed in 63, 3 men, Frank Morris, 2 brothers, John and Clarence Anglin, hatched an escape plan. They began with removing the air vent from the back of their cells. They would cover that hole with suitcases, piece of cardboard, what have you. Once they got through the air vent, there was an unguarded utility corridor where they would make their way through and up to the roof of their cell block on the inside like a catwalk. They set up a secret workshop and they used 50 stolen raincoats to make a 6 by 14 rubber raft and life preservers. The 3 prisoners made dummy heads, and they were amazingly in their likeness. They stole hair from the barber shop and it looked like an actual man sleeping in their bed. They wanted to fool the guards to think they were still in their cells during count. On the evening of June 11th, they snuck out of their cells up to the prison roof. They shimmied down the bakery smokestack over the fence and down to the northeast shore. Never to be seen again. The big mystery is, did they make it or did they not? In the frigid waters of the bay, perhaps sharks and that strong current. What do you think? On my most recent visit to Alcatraz, I met a most colorful character, William G. Baker, one of the last surviving inmates that was on Alcatraz. He says that he was there when Robert Stroud, the Birdman, was incarcerated. Bill was given special permission to spend the night in his old cell. He said he couldn't sleep. I don't blame him. And he had an idea. He thought, I have never been outside on Alcatraz at night because they had curfews. They weren't allowed to go out at night. So he found the front doors and sat on a bench, and he looked across the bay at the beautiful San Francisco lights dancing on the water. Alcatraz is open 362 days a year. The ferry runs every 30 to 40 minutes, so you won't have to wait very long when you're ready to leave. For schedules, prices, and to purchase tickets, go to the website of Alcatraz City Cruises. Alcatraz offers a nighttime program if you're brave enough, or during the day you can pick up headsets as you go into the shower room area, and it is an award-winning 35-minute tour with former inmates and correction officers remembering the life on the rock. San Francisco has a cliche, but it is oh so true, that says the coldest winter I ever spent was a summer in San Francisco. Wear layers. We went in May and had to buy beanies, gloves, and a coat, so be prepared. time is precious, and I appreciate you spending it with me, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about Alcatraz. So I wish you well this week, and I'll see you next week at the next stop. Bye-bye. Not just any tropical island with warm hammocks